Good evening. How is everybody tonight? It's great to see you. Thanks for coming. It's a little rainy out, but we are all sunshine and rainbows here today, and we're happy that you are here. So I would like to call the school board meeting for Tuesday, May 20th for the Des Moines Public Schools to order. Ms. Rios, could you please take the roll?
Yes. Ms. Alonso?
Here.
Ms. Campos?
Here.
Mr. Dix?
Here.
Ms. Knox?
Here.
Ms. Martirano?
Here.
Dr. Mayberry Mace?
Here.
Ms. Norris?
Here.
We have quorum.
The first item of business is approval of the agenda. May I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda?
Alonso, so moved.
Campos, second.
We have a motion by Ms. Alonso and a second by Ms. Campos. Is there any discussion or questions? Board members, please cast your votes.
Mayberry Mace, yes.
Next on the agenda is the public forum. Mr. Dix?
We provide speakers at the forum an opportunity to address the board for up to 3 minutes regarding items that are not on the board agenda and up to 5 minutes for an agenda item. If anyone wishes to speak during any portion of the business meeting, please email rosa.rios@dmschools.org. The same speaking protocols apply to all individuals who wish to address the board. Speakers will be called individually, and we ask they state their name and zip code prior to providing comments. Students and minors do not have to provide their address. Guests of the board are encouraged to speak to matters relating to the programs, services, and operations of DMPS. Please remember that Iowa law prohibits us from discussing specific employees or their job performance. We ask all speakers to avoid references to personalities or character attacks, as those types of comments do not contribute to the purpose for which this public forum exists. The use of inappropriate language will not be tolerated, and individuals choosing to do so will be gavelled out of order and asked to excuse themselves from the premises or escorted out by district security. As a reminder to the board and public, the board will not engage in a discussion with public forum speakers, as it is our obligation to discuss only matters posted in the public agenda for the sake of transparency and the opportunity afforded to all community stakeholders. Matters requiring attention will receive appropriate staff and/or board follow-up at a time after the meeting. Thank you for participating in this public forum. We appreciate your feedback and input.
Ms. Rios, are there any speakers for the public forum?
Yes, we have two. First up is Heather Brady. You may approach the podium. On this side, sorry. Yep, this one over here.
Hi, my name is Heather Brady. I live at 634 39th Street in Des Moines. I believe in the power and promise of public schools. As a single mother, I've struggled often to navigate the complex systems at work at DMPS. There's so many people trying to do good work, but the systems, they're not transparent. They're not simple. They're getting in the way. I'm particularly concerned with the future of multilingual learners at DMPS. Who holds the future of multilingual learners in their hands and in their hearts? We know that the BFLs, the bilingual family liaisons, they're the backbone of refugee and immigrant youth and families here. Who else is listening to their voices? Who else is understanding their strengths and taking the right action? I'm asking the board to keep these interests at the forefront of your mind when you're reimagining our education. I want to hear this focus clearly articulated. I want to understand, and I know many of the people here in this audience would love to understand how you plan to empower these communities and work so that they can also advocate for their future and that there's a place for this in your system. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Tom Rendon.
Good afternoon. My name is Tom Rendon. I live in Des Moines. 50310 is my zip code. I sent both of my daughters through the Des Moines Public School System, and both were honor graduates from Hoover High School. I am also a member of Iowa CCI and its Public School Strong effort. Together, Public School Strong in Iowa has organized hundreds of individuals to support fully funded public schools that teach the full truth of our history, uphold the dignity of individuals of all races and backgrounds, and have the resources to unlock the full potential of all students so that they can be the leaders of tomorrow. I am also the author of a book entitled Saving Play. Last month, I attended the U.S. Play Coalition's National Conference on the Value of Play in Bloomington, Indiana. At this conference, I attended a session entitled Healthy Balance of Learning and Play in Schools, Follow the Data, led by Dr. Deborah Rhea, a professor of kinesiology at Texas Christian University. Her presentation dramatically illustrated the effectiveness of increasing unstructured play, aka recess, in elementary and middle schools. She has evidence that makes that the difference between 30 minutes versus 60 minutes of moderate to vigorous physical activity makes an enormous difference. Recess actually makes formal learning time more effective. She discovered that 15 minutes of recess allows students to learn an hour of content in just 40 minutes. She argues that we have to stop pitting so-called content time against quote-unquote free time or recess. Both are necessary, both support one another. As you reimagine education, I am urging you to adopt evidence-based practices around extended recess and free time for children. Dr. Rhea's LINK project, and that's L-I-I-N-K, has been examining the health, physical achievements, cognition, and social and emotional progress of children twice a year over the past 9 years. Her LINK formula is 4 15-minute outdoor unstructured play breaks throughout the day and 15 minutes of social emotional learning curriculum lessons every day. What schools saw when they did this was increased attention focus, improved social skills, enhanced problem-solving, creativity, and critical thinking skills, more robust immune systems, fewer discipline issues, improved behavior, less bullying, less chronic stress and anxiety in children.
30 seconds remaining.
30 seconds. I think I can make that. It's time we strengthen our public school system through better mental and physical health, higher social expectations, and quality time in the classroom. I encourage you to learn more about this, and I have a little handout if you want to just see some of the outcomes based on the LINK project. I don't know if I have enough to go all the way around, but we'll see that. But so I just encourage you to really think about the role of recess and what it might take to extend recess from the typical 30 minutes a day to 60 at a minimum. Thank you.
Yeah. Those are all the speakers I have signed up.
The next item on our agenda are district recognitions. Dr. Roberts, are there any recognitions for today?
Yes, Madam. Yes, Madam. Okay. Third time's the charm. Yes, Madam Chair. There are a number of district recognitions, and I'm excited to bring them to you this evening. As we continue to bring forward recognitions at school board meetings where we celebrate the successes and accomplishments of students both in and out of the classroom, as well as the staff, including teachers and all the adults who serve them, this evening's recognitions are a few. But I'm happy to share by bringing forward on the agenda for the very first time a group of student leaders in the Des Moines Public Schools. This is the inaugural cohort, and they are certainly setting the tone for what is to come. Our Superintendent's Advisory Council. The Superintendent's Advisory Council consists of 2 student ambassadors who are elected by their peers from each of our high schools that convene once a month with the superintendent and/or the superintendent's executive cabinet. The mission, as created and agreed upon by the council, is for Des Moines Public Schools students who are part of this council to provide the superintendent and executive cabinet members with feedback on ways that the district can improve students' overall experiences in our schools and to ensure that we are providing and cultivating strong two-way communication between our almost 31,000 student body, and every single adult who served them. While there are so many conflicting priorities with all of our students, many of whom are seniors, and this is a big week for them. I see some of them who are seniors are here with us as well, and so we are thankful. We have a number of those individuals who are part of the council here with us this evening. I would ask that they come up as a group to the podium so that they can be recognized. Let's give them a round of applause as they're coming. Board, Des Moines Public Schools and community, so often in the pre-K-12 education space, we posit that we are doing the work on behalf of students and their voices and their experiences matter. But too often we make these decisions that are devoid of actual student voice. And this is an attempt to ensure that we are living true to the ideals and values that we've said that we want to, and that is to make sure that we are having those voices and have them elevated. They look amazing, don't they? But more than that, if you ever have an opportunity to sit in the presence of these young people at any given time, you will be truly, truly inspired, understanding that our future is really, really bright. I will open it up and I'll offer for any one of them to share any remarks if they so choose. If not, no pressure. After which I want to ask that the board indulge us in having a member of our team to have the council stand within the dais and take pictures with the board members in the background.
We'd love to hear from
Bet you
you.
they're not shy at all, I can tell you that.
I'll go first, no worries. Yeah, it's amazing to see you guys again. Hello, how are you guys doing?
Good,
Yes,
good,
yes. I would say for me, one of my biggest values has been free speech. And I think as we've seen things change with this administration, I don't want to get too political, but as we've seen things change, we've seen free speech get censored. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I want to tell you guys, there's a reason why free speech is being censored. People are worried about what youth have to say. And there's power in free speech, which is why it's being censored. And I feel like through opportunities like the Superintendent Advisory Board, it's one of the easiest ways for youth to practice free speech. Because free speech is not always just giving speeches in front of people. Free speech also happens in private. Free speech also happens in small groups as well. And I'm really grateful for this opportunity. And for any youth watching this video, I strongly encourage you to incorporate free speech into your life and it's an act of rebellion when you practice free speech. I want to end it with that.
Any additional?
Hello there, Mr. Roberts, members of the board. Thank you and apologize for my late arrival. And also thank you for finally giving me the blazer, guys. No, but I have the unique experience as well serving on the Reimagining Education Committee alongside with this committee. And the work that we've done along there of having the privilege to be part of the Student Experience Subcommittee and having them actually listen to student concerns and forming this group, I think has shown a great promise for the future as we move these types of decisions that are going to have to be made. And again, to emphasize that point of free speech. Student voice. I mean, this is the school district with Tinker v. Des Moines. Let's not forget that. If it's anyone that all these decisions are going to be impacted, it's these students that represent our district beautifully. And as I leave this upcoming Sunday at the commencement of East High School, it's been a privilege to serve on an excellent board with you guys on the Reimagining Education Committee and with these fellows here at the Superintendent Advisory Board. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris.
Hi, I'm Ian Schaefer. I represent North High School on the board alongside, thank you, alongside my other colleague that's not here today, Juliet Hanley. And really being on this board has been able to really get the youth voice involved in discussions of what's in the future for Des Moines Public Schools. And I'm somebody from Ankeny, where they don't have anything close to this within their school board. And being able to come to Des Moines and have this experience where student input is actually valued is one of the most incredible things that I've ever been able to be a part of. And with what's going on right now on how public education is being affected discriminatorily is awful. And students are here, the students on this board are here to really show that public education matters. And public education is going to continue to be on the rise, maybe not right now with what's going on in the legislature from the state level to the country level. However, students are the future within DMPS, and public education is going to be a top priority for all the students within the school district. And being able to have this student advisory council is going to help support the future of public education. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Pisa. I represent Virtual Campus High School. I'll also represent East. I want to shed light and value to diversity. If you look around in this room today and everyone behind me, there is a very big class of diversity, and it just goes to show that no matter who you are, where you're from, what your background is, your voice matters. You are who you are, and it just goes to show, as you said, that public education does matter. Where I'm from, education isn't really a big thing. It's hard to get education like this. So standing here today in front of everyone with these group of people behind me, it feels amazing. And I'm so glad that I got this opportunity. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Pisa.
Board, Dr. Roberts, my name is Gabe Garcia. I am a sophomore student athlete at Roosevelt High School. One big thing for me is I'm a diverse person. I'm a student athlete, I'm Hispanic, I run my own business. And for a voice like mine, so diverse, to be heard across the board, and for my input to be heard by important people means a lot to me. Because, you know, sometimes you don't hear that voice. Like, even in certain parts of our world today, the minorities aren't being heard of society. And it's great to see in Des Moines Public School to have such a diverse voice like myself be heard. That's all I got. Go Riders.
All right, Madam Chair.
Just one question for those of you, if you're comfortable, that have chosen not to speak. Is there anything that you have an opportunity to tell the board, really just about anything? And so, is there anything you want to share, whether if you're graduating, something that you felt was like unfinished business, or something that you want to make sure we consider when we're up here pontificating and talking about stuff?
May I add one quick thing?
Of course you can.
All right, so this is my first ever time coming to a school board meeting. And behind me, I hear a lot of interpretations of presumably Spanish-speaking people within this room. And something that I would like for the board to consider is DMPS is a very diverse school district, arguably one of the most diverse in the Midwest, most diverse in the state by far. And we have a lot of different speaking individuals that are students. However, their family also cares about what is going on the board. And so I would personally like to ask that if in the near future, even though the in-person interpreters may not be able to come, if we're able to have online video interpreters in the future for individuals that wish to have knowledge on what's actively going on the school board at the moment. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody? Janet, go ahead.
We'll get Dr. Roberts right on top of that. Thank you.
Any last comments? Thank you so much for your service.
Thank you. If we can have you all come into this area. Board, if we can stand.
Oh wait, where's your stool? Your stool out. Yeah.
All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, we'll do a whole bunch here. Excellent.
Thank you for
Is that the DM?
Yes, quickly. Yeah, I'll go very quick. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair and Board.
Is that your own logo there?
This is our Superintendent's Advisory Council. We're all wearing the same blazer.
The school board would like our own blazers.
Kaylee, please make note of the
Maybe just with DMPS. I would think that'd be great. We should have them.
Interpreters and blazers.
Madam Chair, Board, and Community. Additionally, there are 4 very quick items, but certainly I believe are worth mentioning tonight as part of our recognitions. The first is last week at Weeks Middle School, we saw that an expansion of certainly our strategic priority number 5, which is around community partnerships and collaboration, with a great partnership with the Caitlin Clark Foundation and Musco Lighting, where they completed one of the mini pitches at Weeks Middle School. Ultimately, the goal is for them to complete a mini pitch at each of our middle schools. There was lots of local and national media coverage, but more importantly, the smiles on our faces, the faces of our students, certainly is well worth these partnerships. Additionally, last Sunday marked the end of our first full flag football season with a championship where we had 165 young women competing from middle and high schools with lots of excitement, well attended, lots of support from our community and spectators, and we're looking forward to continuing to support our students. A part of the support came from the NFL's Minnesota Vikings, and we will continue to expand and build upon that partnership to ensure that there is enough play in every way, shape, and form for our young ladies. The State Track and Field Championship begins this Thursday. And I'm mentioning that because, one, we have representation from all 5 of our comprehensive high schools where student athletes have qualified in 25 different events. If you can, as a Drake University, please come out and cheer on your school team, your alma mater, and make sure that you wear paraphernalia as possible. And finally, the class of 2025. This is, without a doubt, one of the most celebrated and exciting weeks for Des Moines Public Schools. We celebrate the commencement of 8 different graduation ceremonies beginning on Friday through Sunday. Class of 2025, we are excited to celebrate you, acknowledge the hard work that you've put in, and look forward to seeing you walk across the stage. Madam Chair, that concludes this evening's district's recognitions.
Thank you very much. It's an exciting time. We are now going to move to the consent agenda. As a reminder to the board and public, the board will not engage in discussion or deliberation with a speaker regarding comments made to agenda items. Discussion and deliberation will remain among board members at the board table with speakers' comments, informing the board's discussion, deliberation, and determinations as deemed necessary. Ms. Rios, do we have any speakers?
No speakers for consent.
Mr. Dix, I believe you have the consent motion.
I do, Madam Chair. I move that the board approve the consent items in accordance with the recommended action for each item on the consent agenda, including bills previously authorized, certified, and approved for payment by the board secretary in the amount of $5,865,956.46.
We have a motion by Mr. Dick.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
End of that. Sorry. And procurement card transactions in the amount of $682,767.21.
Is there a second?
Cancel second.
We have a motion by Mr. Dix and a second by Ms. Campos. Is there any discussion or questions? So at this point, I'm actually going to ask to amend the consent agenda items and pull item D14, which is the personnel report. And so for me to do that, I would need a second.
Second.
So now we'll turn it to vote on the amendment to the consent agenda item, which would remove item D14. So we have a motion by Ms. Norris and a second by Mr. Dix. And now we'll vote. Do we need, on the amendment? Dr. Mayberry
Mayberry
Mays?
Mays, yes.
I think he said, did he say yes?
He said yes.
Yes.
Ms. Alonso? Okay, the vote has passed 7-0. Now we'll vote on the consent agenda without item D14 on it. I don't need a motion, do I? Yeah, okay, board members, please cast your votes. Dr. Mayberry Mays?
Mayberry Mays, yes. Yes.
The vote is approved 7-0. And now we'll move to discuss the consent agenda item that was pulled, which is D14, which is the personnel report. And so, Dr. Roberts, I let the board colleagues know, I let you know.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
just in order to discuss, you need a motion.
Thank you.
In a second.
May I have a motion to discuss item
Motion,
D14?
Knox makes a motion.
Dick second.
The motion is to approve, correct? Yes.
Oh, okay. We need a motion, thank you. We need a motion to approve item D14. May I have a motion and a second?
Dick second.
We have a motion by Ms. Alonso and a second by Mr. Dix. Are there any discussions or questions? Yes. And at this point, yes. So the question I have, Dr. Roberts, is, and I don't know if Susie's here either.
She's not, she's absent.
Okay,
She's
is
absent.
just to help understand there's approximately 30 positions that are resignations and then elections and contract changes in their teaching and learning department. And I was hoping to understand that because there's an additional cost, I think, as well. Are you in a position to be able to speak to that tonight, or do we need?
I am at a high level. Madam Chair, I believe what is being referenced here is while there are some position changes, the resignations that we see and then elections is pertaining to individuals who are curriculum coordinators. The curriculum coordinators specifically in this instance had an amendment to their positions and contract where we've extended the number of days that they are going to be contracted for. One of the primary reasons for this change is to ensure that there is additional support being provided from the teaching and learning standpoint. Let me also offer that I believe, and certainly remain open to stand corrected, 100% of those individuals recognizing the need for us to not only dedicate or reallocate additional time to support our teaching and learning inputs and practices, they've all, having had a number of different conversations, agreed that this is a change that they believe will benefit the district and the work that we're doing.
So I guess I'd like to understand what the impact is for our teachers directly, because this is not this is a significant cost. This is about 25 people that we're changing contracts for and increasing salaries. And so I want to understand how this is going to impact our teachers.
The impact of teachers is positive. There's no negative. There's additional time spent to support teachers, additional coaching, additional resources allocated. I'm not sure I'm understanding the impact
I
of
don't think it's a
teachers.
matter of positive or negative. I think
It's a matter of
yeah, I
increasing
think I hear
costs.
what the chair is saying. I would personally like to understand how this is gonna, what we believe the impact on the classroom is gonna be every day. Is it more support for teachers? It's the same person. So is this, what will the extra time give them? What will the result be for next year in our classrooms? Maybe that's the way to put it.
Absolutely, thank you. The question really aligns really strongly to our strategic priority number one, which is to improve teaching and learning. And it means that because now our coordinators will have additional time in the summer is such a critical time for us to plan and prepare to deliver on targeted and differentiated professional development to all of our teachers. And oftentimes we find ourselves in a place where there's just not enough time during the regular school year. An extension of time for these individuals will allow them to have adequate preparation to now come back into the school year delivering to teachers in a way that gets them better prepared as well.
Dr. Roberts, I guess I would also ask how the teachers are being brought in, because I think good professional development sort of is a two-way street in that if the feedback has to be good and it has to be specific to improve the teaching. And so is this extra time, is part of that to help give that more specific feedback to teachers in classrooms?
Thank you, Board Member Diggs. That's an excellent question. In order for us to see improvement around pedagogical strategies from teachers, we have what we call in education the feedback cycle or feedback loop. And that means that when curriculum coordinators, directors of teaching and learning, chief academic officers go into classroom to visit and observe teachers, it's important that we're not only observing, but we're thinking about a feedback loop that is grounded in sort of seminal research and books such as Get Better Faster, Leverage Leadership, where we're expected to come back and give teachers bite-sized feedback that is intended to improve how they deliver an instruction through the feedback cycle, which is what we call reteaching. I'm getting very technical. But to answer the question, absolutely, right? Given these curriculum coordinators an additional opportunity to have time to better prepare, to prepare a robust scope and sequence of professional development for teachers that will extend throughout the year, will only have nothing but positive benefits.
And I'm sorry for all the questions, but I am not as familiar with, I know we have many levels of contracts, and I'm not always familiar with what all of those mean. Do these individuals, does their status change in any way in the eyes of the district based off of this change to a different contract?
Yes, the contract certainly changes. They are going to have additional days, certainly, to their contract, which also comes with a change in their compensation. Change with hours worked, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Other questions? I think, Dr. Roberts, my job, our job is to trust you to make the right decisions. I think I just am feeling that the stress of our budget over the years is going to get worse. And so we're cutting things to do this. And so I guess your recommendation is this is more important than some of the other things that we've chosen to not fund. And so because we know the budget trajectory that we face.
Absolutely, Madam Chair, and thank you. I've heard the board loud and clear. One of the things that truly inspires myself and my team from this board is your continued challenge for us to make sure that when we are thinking about reallocating resources, the resources going directly to the most important part of our work, and that is improving teaching and learning. That is impacting teachers, it's impacting students. And so I sit here with tremendous amount of confidence and comfort, knowing that I'm listening to the board, but also listening to our teachers and our teaching and learning leaders. This is a prudent decision, and I believe that the academic return of this investment will manifest itself in months or years to come.
Okay.
Great. With that, board members, please cast your votes on item D14. Dr. Mayberry Mays?
Mayberry Mays, yes.
The
Yes.
vote has passed 7-0. We move on to our next order of business, Reimagining Education Update. Dr. Roberts and Matt Smith, please come up, or Dr. Roberts.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On behalf of Matt and Dave and the rest of the Reimagining Education Committee, I just want to bring a quick update to you all. As you know, earlier this month, we conducted a survey about reimagining education, specifically the concept of signature schools, which are themed specifically around an academic or a career focus. This is one of the 5 major components of our Reimagining Education initiative. By adopting evidence and research-based practices, providing schools that would give students immersive experiences in their educational and career interests. It's with excitement that I share that the response to this survey was tremendous, with more than 14,000 people taking part, the vast majority of whom are students. This is a lot of data for the team to analyze, but they're up to the task. We welcome this response rate with excitement, and because of the importance of this part of the Reimagining Education endeavor, we want to take a little bit more time to do so. So while we're taking our time to analyze this data and then come back to the board eventually and the entire community with our findings, tonight I want to share some high-level feedback with you, if I may. First, there is a lot of student interest in the signature school concept. 2/3 of our student survey respondents saw value in making such schools an option in the Montpelier Public Schools, and more than 80% of them had some interest in enrolling in a signature school. More than 80% of our student respondents. Some of this strong interest came from teachers being experts in the specialized subjects of these schools and in offering curricula that align with student interests. Second, there is a strong interest in a range of potential areas of focus of these signature schools. While STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math, and in some instances we've seen an evolution of STEM where we've added an A with science, technology, engineering, arts, and math, was often mentioned, there was also interest in schools that specialize in areas such as the arts, world languages, Montessori, and career and technical training, in addition to health sciences. We want to take a close look at this feedback, including how these interests align with our 3 regions as espoused during our Reimagining Education Committee meetings. For the board's next meeting on June 3rd, we plan to bring 2 things to share. First, a more detailed look at the results of this survey, and second, the committee's recommendation for the areas of focus for signature schools as part of our Reimagining Education proposal. Since announcing the Reimagining Education proposal in February, I have been encouraged and excited about the interest and response from this entire community, the Des Moines community, beyond just our school system. It is clear to me that people know that we need to plan for a brighter future, not just for today, but for generations to come. And the response to our commitment to reimagine education and reinvigorate our schools thus far has been nothing short of inspiring and encouraging. Signature schools are often cited component of the plan that people have expressed a lot of interest in. And I'm glad that we're getting close to being able to share even more details about aspects of this very exciting and important initiative in the Montpelier Public Schools as a part of this undertaking. In the coming months, beyond just our June 3rd board meeting, we will continue to provide everyone with updates along this journey, continue to enlist your voices and input, and offer additional information via our Reimagining Education website. Together, with this investment, I believe that we are truly going to continue to build on our endeavor and our aspiration to provide our students with a world-class education. Madam Chair, that concludes this evening's high-level update about Reimagining Education.
Thanks, Dr. Roberts. And one quick clarifying question. The signature school survey analysis, will that be put online before the June 3rd meeting or during the June 3rd meeting? What do you think the public can expect?
Matt? Yes.
I was just going to say, probably during the meeting, unless there's a...
No, just...
Yeah, if that's okay, yep.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Madam Chair, if I may.
Yes.
Dr. Roberts, you said that community members should continue to voice their input via the Reimagining Education website. Is there currently an additional survey link that families should utilize for that, or did I misunderstand that?
No, thank you, Board Member Marwan. No, they should continue to voice their input, not necessarily via our website. We're going to continue to listen to their input and their voices.
So what's the best way for that input and voice to be expressed or heard?
Absolutely, thank you. I think one of those ways is we continue to be open to receiving email communication. Matt can certainly weigh in as to whether or not there are additional venues
Sure,
that you
and
may.
there still is the active link on the website where someone could submit a question, and we will still respond to that. So, but emails, we've received several emails just directly as well, but either works.
Okay, thank you so much.
And I have noticed, thank you, there have been FAQs that have been added
Yes.
and answered, so thank you for that. So if people haven't looked at that, I think you're doing a good job just trying to keep up to date with the questions that you are getting.
Thank you.
So thank you. Okay, so June 3rd.
June 3rd, looking forward to
Exciting.
providing the board and community with an update. Thanks, Matt.
Great, thanks, Matt. 2 other items that we are going to cover quickly tonight, actually. So board policy update and then naming policy update. So board colleagues, you may remember when we had a conversation about policy compliance in general. And one of the things that Kaylee, and I thought she was out here, there she is, in partnership with Dr. Roberts, chose or were forced to tackle was just all of the policies and understanding compliance to policies and getting us on a schedule where we are reviewing our policies on a regular basis. And so all I want to do is just let you know that Miriam, who is our attorney, as you know, and Kaylee, Dr. Roberts, and Rosie, and a few other team members are coming together. And Dr. Roberts is working to create a policy hierarchy, for lack of a better term, so that the board knows, because ultimately this is board policy. Board policy and district policy are really synonymous. And so what's going to happen is Dr. Roberts and team are going to lead a comprehensive review of policies. This may not happen overnight, but it will ensure that there's a process in place so we are compliant on an annual basis with the policies that need to be reviewed. So I think that's a long way of saying it's being addressed. The one piece that I'd want all of you to know, because it is board work, is that we are updating, and everybody's had input just a little bit, and that's part of what we're going to try and accomplish by the end of June, is the board governance, and we're going to call it operating handbook. So if you think about the nomenclature I think we're trying to get to, which is there is board policy, right? Otherwise, some people use it as district policy. Board policy and district policy for the purposes of hierarchy are the same. So board policy, and then underneath that, there are administrative regulations. Correct me if I get this wrong, administrative regulations. And then underneath that are the operating handbooks. Kind of the, whether it's for a department, a school, things like that. So I just wanted to let everybody know that that is something that is being taken seriously. And if anybody has any questions or you want to get really excited about it, Miriam is very excited about it. So we are lucky that Allers Cooney actually likes to do policy work.
Yes.
And the series work. So with that, I'm going to frame the next. Does anybody have any questions on that, the policy compliance piece? So again.
Just one.
Yep, thank you.
How often is it recommended that we do that?
So there's two answers to this. I think Dr. Roberts and the team is identifying some things that hadn't been updated on a regular schedule. So I think that there is a significant amount of work to actually get everything to be comprehensive and uniform. So there's a lot of front-end work, but then it's on a as-recommended basis. And so IASB, the Iowa Association of School Boards, recommends certain, like every 3 years. The state has certain compliance terms as well. So the state may say you have to review this policy every year or every 3 years or every 5 years. So it's a combination of what is best practice and what the state recommends. So I think if I'm guessing how Dr. Roberts is going to prioritize it, it's looking at the policies that for FY25 we need to ensure that we're compliant in, and FY26. So, because it's going to take some time to tackle this very big project. But it's important, so thank you.
That's good. Thank you.
Any other questions on that? Okay, so with that being said, one of the board policies or board duties is naming of facilities. And one of the things that some of you may recall, is this all mine or did you get yours? Some of you may recall is the process that was started, which is, I think we all went through the naming process on different committees. Did you serve on a committee once, a naming committee? I think all of us maybe have had that opportunity. And there were a few things that I thought we all felt were really important. One of them was greater involvement by the staff in their recommendations and vetting as it relates to naming of district facilities. The other issue was around documentation of all of the naming of facilities and some type of consistency. And so Kaylee, in partnership with Patrick and Anna, agreed to tackle a really hard hard topic, which is naming of district facilities. So with that, they were tasked, I think 9 months ago maybe, with trying to come up with a set of recommendations for the board, which would be board policy on how district facilities would be named. And if that's a good enough framing, I'm going to turn it over to you to take us from there.
Kaylee, why don't, yeah.
and I would just
I
say-
think that's a pretty good framing if you want to.
And to this group, we're listening today, we're asking questions, and then the goal would be that this policy would be on consent. And I should also say Dr. Roberts has been participating and giving feedback, so this is not something that is unfamiliar to you, Dr. Roberts.
That is correct.
Okay.
Maybe I'll tee up a little bit here,
for
Kaylee,
it.
just with, we started this process out by just wanting to look at the policy again and making sure that we had it, had everything we needed in place with the policy. But I think with the Reimagining Education effort on the horizon as well, we wanted to make sure that there was a clear process for the public to follow so that it wasn't confusing for any communities who wanted to do some naming in honor of one of the members of their community. And so I want to say two things. One, thank you to those members of the public who have been incredibly patient while we've tried to work through all of the legalities of this. And Kaylee, thank you for going through all of this, and our legal partners as well for all of their work, because the complexity of this is a lot more than we thought when we started it. But I think having a really good policy that's buttoned up will serve us well in the future. So with that, I don't know if you want to give a couple of high level, and we had a couple of questions that we wanted to bring back to the board as well for their consideration.
Yeah. When we started going through this, we realized that a lot of this policy needed structure to it, and some requirements were, a submission form and things like that. So in front of you, what I handed out to all of you is the Policy 740 naming of schools and facilities. The one that says that at the top is the policy that I'm recommending today. The Policy 740 BP is our current policy. I just wanted you to have that in front of you in case you didn't have your computer with you. This is what the district has currently. And then I also included procedures for the Policy 740. So this would be the admin regulation, as Jackie was talking about, to go with and associated with Policy 740. So this is how we're going to act out this policy. And we won't.
To be clear,
Yeah.
this is the.
That's the current.
The
And
shorter
that's-
is the
yep.
current, the
The shorter,
longer,
yep.
the shorter is the current,
Yeah,
the
sorry, it's
longer
a lot of
is the-
paperwork.
Got it.
They both say BP at the top, but they were
Sorry,
labeled correctly. No,
yes.
that's all right. They
Yeah.
were labeled correctly when you
Got it,
sent them
thank
to
The
us.
middle is the new.
Yeah.
The thicker is the procedure, and the align to the left is current. Yep. Sorry, I just wanted you to have the current in case you didn't have your computer. And I also included the thicker one is the procedures. We won't go over that today, but I will reference a few things from that because it'll have kind of the donation amounts and timeframes of naming. But just some of the changes that you'll see in the new policy. I'm not going to go through it all. You guys can throw some questions at me if you have them. But some significant changes that we made were putting timelines in for the naming committee and the board. So we have, we give the community obviously a time frame of when we're going to get back to them on their submissions. It also clarifies the board members and the naming committees and the superintendent designee, as well as the communications department to help with the vetting process as well. And then it also defines naming structure. At the top there, you'll see that it has a few bullet points of what district facilities includes because that's been a huge question. In the submission process, when you submit a naming for a school or district facility, which includes schools, we also included a formal submission process that you will find, well, it's basically throughout. But the standard naming procedure, you'll see that the naming committee, made up of 2 board members and a school district representative, will bring that to the board, and then the board will vote on that. Just stop me if you have any questions, by the way. Okay. Naming criteria, who and what can be named. Right now, we're going through a process with operations. We're asking every building or facility that we have in the district to submit by the end of May what is currently named in their building. So that could include a plaque, an art center, a classroom, pretty much anything you would think of as named in Des Moines Public Schools. So we will have all of that historical data, and we will use that moving forward. We will use that this criteria on what can be named and what it should be named after. So one of the things that we did change is currently you are to be deceased 2 years. After extensive research into other school districts, we changed it to 5 years. A lot of other school districts across the country have that consistent time. We also added in vetting and research requirements because we currently don't outline that in the policy of any names submitted to the board. We also put in eligibility clarification for district staff, so you have to be 5 years separated from your role if you are a teacher or board member or anything along those lines. Looking at the renaming procedures, it basically gives the board unconditional renaming authority, which we did talk about earlier, Jackie. At the end of the policy, it actually states that the board has the authority to rename a facility at any time. So if we run into a snag of some sort, the board can then rename any facility. We added in, so in the current policy, it states very vaguely that you can be named, a facility can be named after someone or an area. So we added in with the potential of reimagining and the actual requests we've already gotten of people wanting to name things after individuals in the community, we added in some language that states the honorary naming of significant contribution. So one significant contribution can be service to Des Moines Public Schools. So teacher, board member, and it outlines kind of those examples. Or you can also give a significant financial contribution. And I did want to outline in the procedure, you will see, and I know we're not voting on that, but one of the questions we went over is, what does that look like? What's the dollar amount and the timeline for that as well? Because that's something we do not have currently. And you'll see that in the procedural document. And that outlines for donations towards school buildings, facilities, and also memorial plaques or amenities, basically, in the metro. Okay. We also put in a new process with the submission form after you're approved for your school or facility or plaque, what have you. We will work with Allers to get a naming agreement. We currently do not have any agreements in place that we're aware of for this particular process or policy. So we will now, moving forward, have agreements with either honorary or donation-specific naming in the district, so we can keep track of all of the named district facilities. I believe that's the extent of the changes. There's a lot of them. So any questions?
Board colleagues, I would just jump in to say that this is not an effort to wipe the slate clean and rename every building. This is not an effort to have McDonald's High School because they made a significant donation. This is an effort to put a procedure in place so that people know how they can honor someone who's made a significant contribution. But I think the reality of this is also that with some of the ambitious plans and ideas that we have, I think being open to our community and our entire community making support in different ways, including financial contribution to the district, I think we should be open to that. And if it's appropriate and if they go through the process, finding a way to honor that contribution. So I think that's sort of the framework for this, but it's not an effort to just wipe the slate clean and start over and rename everything. It's just an opportunity to think differently moving forward.
Can you,
Just one,
go ahead, Maria.
one question.
Yeah.
I didn't see anywhere here if there is a deadline, so people can submit any proposals at any time.
Yeah,
Right?
we talked about that, having a timeline, but based on donations, it just makes sense to have the submissions open at all times because we never know if it is a financial contribution, when it would come in. It just would get really messy with timelines. And we currently don't have a huge volume of them. Who knows, maybe we will someday. But for now, it works to have it just open year round.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think my question is just confirming that we increased the threshold of submission. So we added, so you have to submit a certain number of signatures, you have to provide a justification, you have to have talked to your community, you have to have, so I just, we don't have that here, but I do think if you remember off the top of your head, some of the key questions that you ask in the form, that would be helpful.
Yep.
Because it's really getting, it's not intended to make it harder as opposed to, I think, more thoughtful about why somebody has been selected and that there's input from stakeholders beyond just one particular individual.
And Madam Chair, just to add on to that, I think through no fault of their own, this has been sort of a free-for-all in the district.
Yes.
There have been things named and every building has a different procedure and every building has a different way of doing it. I think this standardizes that and helps everyone with a framework to think about it.
Yeah, and some of the questions, I apologize, I did not print that out, I should have. We did come up with a submission form that someone would have to submit if you're trying to rename a school or name a facility. Some of the questions, obviously, what name are you proposing? Why do you believe that this current name should be changed with regard to community relevance? Why is the proposed name significant, giving details about the person, event, or area being honored? Value and mission of the school district. Have you discussed this proposal with community members? And if so, what feedback have you received? And then you also have to submit a petition with 250 signatures from community members as well.
Thank you to the committee for your thoughtful approach and thorough approach to rewriting this. I have just two questions. Under the guidelines for naming of schools or facilities, you have different guidelines for elementary and secondary. Can you help me understand why those are different?
Yeah, actually, that is what we currently have. And that was one of my questions to the board was, would you like to keep those standard? Currently, for secondary schools, we give priority to geographic regions or U.S. presidents, and then it's a little more lenient with elementary and middle. And that was one question I did want to bring to you to hear your thoughts, because I'm going to be honest, this is just what's in the current policy, and if we want to change it, we sure can. Just would like to hear your thoughts so we don't go rogue on high schools.
We discussed today that the prioritization of presidents seemed a little bit outdated. It just
Yeah.
felt a little bit old-fashioned, and maybe that if just taking that out to free us up to think more creatively about it would be a way to go, so.
I would be supportive of the removal of that language and consistency across the district, PK through 12. And then the other question I had was regarding the naming with a significant contribution. Is that something that, I'm not seeing it here, but would that be for a specified amount of time? So if I give a significant contribution today and someone comes in and wants to give that same significant contribution in a year, what time, is it time bound? And where is that identified? Is that in the procedural document?
Yes, it is. So it is the fourth page in the procedure document. You'll see naming rights duration. I also did extensive research into what other districts have for language in this. You'll notice that for both honorary and capital, it's up to 10 years. So we will submit to the board, and the board will decide the amount of time that someone's name will be on a building or facility. We will also have agreements, I guess, if someone comes in a year later and says, I want to give $5 million to this, we'll have an agreement in place that your name won't be taken off until your agreement is up. So you can give somewhere else.
Okay. Yes. Thank you.
I just want to, I know we talked earlier, and I'm struggling with how this is written a little bit. I just want to make sure that we are very clear that everybody understands there's two pathways.
Yes.
So if you don't donate money, there's still a process where district facilities, and when we say district facilities, think just for everybody that can't see the description, indoor amenities, common spaces, extracurricular facilities, that there's a process for both. So to the degree that we can make that clear, I would just appreciate that.
Yeah. I think we can make it more clear than it is currently, and we did discuss that earlier. I added in, Jackie, under the honorary naming to recognize a significant contribution. In the second sentence, it says significant contributions may include, and it gives two examples. I did check with legal counsel, and they said we could put in via financial contribution, so that's more clear. They did have some pushback on, if someone does give us property or a building or something like that. So we just have to discuss what that would look like. But then number 2 would be significant service or impact as a staff member, volunteer, board member, or combination thereof. So those are the two very different ways that you can have something named after you.
Other questions?
Great job to the committee. Very excited to see this next chapter unfold for our district.
Yeah. It's exciting.
Yeah, and
Policy.
unfortunately, now the real hard work begins, actually, because it's the cataloging of all the.
We're going to have
names.
so many $5 million gifts, we're not going to know what to do. It's going to be who can get your $5 million in first, right?
Yeah.
Is that like a fundraiser?
Thank you for the plug, Jennifer.
Okay, with that, thank you very much. So we are going to then move to items of privilege. So board members, is there anything you would like to say as we are in items of privilege? Excellent.
Everyone preparing for this weekend and upcoming graduations, thank you, Mr. Phil, and your staff that will be working very hard with everyone else this weekend. Thank you so much for all of your work.
Ms. Martirano?
Thank you. It is the final school board meeting of the school year, although we will continue to meet throughout the summer. I just have a quick note to our leaders, our students, and our families, and really grounded in my deep gratitude to each of these groups. To our leaders, you've been steadfast and thoughtful in your decision-making. You've guided us through a complex year, and I want to thank you for keeping our students at the center of your guidance, even when the path has not always been so clear. Our students, you've shown perseverance, creativity, and courage in a world that continues to shift around you. Tonight was so inspiring to hear from some of our students, and I can honestly say I've seen that how much our students have learned, have led, have fallen, but have gotten back up and have grown. They are the reason that I do this work. And to our students, your efforts have truly been inspiring to me. And our teachers and staff, you've given your time, your energy, and your hearts to the work of educating our students, not just in the classroom, but in offices, in cafeterias, buses, buildings. Your impact has been profound. Your commitment to student growth and improving student outcomes, student well-being, and their success has not gone unnoticed, and it's deeply appreciated. So thank you. I hold and celebrate not only our triumphs, but our trials. We've grown together throughout the year. We've overcome quite a bit, and I look forward to all that we will continue to overcome together, and have a wonderful and restful summer. Thank you.
Can I just say one more thing? There will be some educators, people that will be very actively assisting, supporting students during summer school. Thank you for the work that you're doing, reminding parents that their students need to get some work done, for showing up to do that, giving up part of your summer to continue to support our students. That's priceless. So thank you.
Well, I want to recognize an amazing award that one of us at the table received last week, was it? It's all a blur. It's all a blur. But our very own Ana Campos was named an Inspiring Woman of Iowa. And I was there to be able to watch her video, and she was actually nominated by Jackie Norris. So it's just quite a girl power moment up here. But I want to just recognize you for that incredible accomplishment. It was very cool to see our board and our team recognized in that space as well. It was a fabulous luncheon for the Girl Scouts of Greater Iowa. Couldn't have picked a better cause. And just congratulations to you for inspiring us up here at this board table, but also inspiring so many women and everyone across the state of Iowa. So congratulations to Ms. Campos.
Do we get free Girl Scout cookies? Yeah. Okay, I just have a few things. One, at the risk of sounding like a bored nag, you all have received a weekly update, and I just want to encourage you to check your calendars and let Rosie know, because we are really trying to stay disciplined with our calendaring and also have to weigh a lot of reimagining education and other demands on our time. So please let Rosie know if you are going to be missing June 3rd, June 17th, or July 8th, and let us know about the possibility of July 24th. So that's just one thing. Second thing is, I'm really excited for soccer teams. So this is such an exciting time frame, and I think Tuesday and Thursday are big days, I'm pretty sure, in the soccer schedule. The next thing I want to apologize for is I did not, so this is my fault, so in full transparency, I did not post that there will be a board social gathering at Big Grove after our school board meeting. We usually post it just so everybody knows well ahead of time. So full transparency, there will probably be more than 3 board members at Big Grove. It is now posted, and we get together from time to time to actually be human beings and connect and talk about our families and things like that. So, and I guess you're welcome to come if you want to come. And just the last thing is I would love to acknowledge all of our retirees. We have some big retirements, and it is quite a list, and some people with well over 40 years of service. And I know, Dr. Roberts, maybe you'll talk about that in your remarks, but I think everybody is getting a golden apple and getting recognition, and I just want to thank all of the people that committed so many years of service to Des Moines Public Schools. Okay.
Okay, I guess I'm gonna go real
Madam
quick.
Chair.
I want to thank everybody that's here present. Like Kim said, this is our last official school board meeting, and CCI and Public School Strong group that is here every week or every meeting with us. Early nights, very late nights, and I appreciate you guys all for being here. And then also just a little thing about graduation this week for the families that are watching. A couple things have changed for processes. So Forest Avenue and right in front of the NAP Center will be closed. So make sure you find alternative parking. And I bet the high school staff have already sent those emails, but I just wanted to let the parents and the families know about that change.
Dr. Mayberry-Mays?
Yes, thank you. I wanted to echo some of the comments, but I certainly want to acknowledge the seniors who will be graduating this year and saying congratulations. But I also want to take this moment as a reminder for the adults within our community to be compassionate around this time. Although it's a significant milestone for many, it also is an extremely emotional time for many of our students. So as we meet with our seniors and we congratulate them, recognizing that not all of them have definitive plans for what life looks like after they cross that stage. So being mindful of it and being supportive, if we can help them with jobs, if we can help them with college, if we can help them with whatever their desires are, but not making the assumptions that everyone and every senior has a definitive plan for what's next, and just being compassionate around that topic.
Great. Appreciate that comment. Okay, Dr. Roberts, do you want to wrap us up with any items of your privilege?
Certainly. Thank you, Madam Chair. I know that the board has an extended meeting after this, and I wouldn't want to stand in the way of that. But with that said, certainly allow me to echo the sentiments of the board by directly speaking to our soon-to-be members of the class of 2025, the parents and family members. We know that for all of you, graduation is not just about that lone individual walking across the stage, culminating their pre-K-12 experience by receiving a coveted high school diploma. But for many, graduation from high school is a family event. It's a celebration of what is possible by serving as an inspiration for many of your siblings, and in many instances, family members who did not have the benefit of this opportunity. And so what I'm going to share with you is quite unpopular during commencement exercises. And that is at every commencement exercise, you have heard the guidance from those who are facilitating. And that is, we ask you to hold your applause until everyone walks across the stage. Allow me to offer this executive decision by saying that you don't have to hold your applause. And I say that because I've seen over the years, when those of us in positions of authority and influence, have suppressed the celebratory spirit and moments for too many parents, many of whom may not understand the direction or guidance that has been given. As you come to each of these ceremonies, understand that there's a lot of pomp and circumstance, and we want you to treat them with a high level of respect, but celebrate your children, your nieces, your nephews, whomever you're there to support. And to our graduates, this is one last time where you will have an opportunity to demonstrate how important it is for you to act in a manner that your parents and your abuelas and your nanas and everyone expect you to act. So treat these circumstances and ceremonies with a lot of respect. We're there to celebrate you. Very important to acknowledge that. To build on Board Member Maturano's point, and some others who mentioned and referenced our students from the Superintendent's Advisory Council this evening, if after listening to them you are not excited about the future of our graduates, I don't know what else will. to listen to them talk about some meaningful and relevant topics today, to hear one of them quote the landmark Supreme Court case of 1969 of Tinker versus Des Moines, and why freedom of speech is important to students. The case where the Supreme Court reminded every single person that when a student enters a schoolhouse, they don't leave their constitutional rights at the door. That was moving for me, to hear the connection made by our students. And to our teachers, leaders, and staff, this weekend doesn't end your school year. We will see you all the way working hard through June 5th. I know you're going to talk about me at happy hour because I said that, but we still love you. Madam Chair and Board, thank you all. Thank you for your governance. Thank you for your leadership as we get ready to finish up this school year and finish really, really strong. And the best is yet to come for the Mon Public Schools. Thank you all. Madam Chair, that concludes my remarks.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Roberts. Thank everybody for joining us tonight. We really appreciate you being here, and the meeting is adjourned at 6:46 p.m. Thank you.